I have never cheated in my life. Becky Lynch on title loss. AJ Lee in WarGames. Good day, everyone, and welcome back to WWE Extreme, the ultimate hotspot for hard-hitting analysis, drama, and all the behind-the-scenes chaos that WWE tries to hide behind glitter and pyrotechnics. Today, we are diving headfirst into some explosive comments from none other than the man herself, Becky Lynch. That is right, Time Becks has spoken out about her recent title loss, her feelings toward AJ Lee, and the absolutely brutal WarGames match that left fans gasping, cheering, and in some cases, questioning reality. Before we unleash this whirlwind, do not forget to subscribe and click that notifications bell icon. This way, you stay ahead of every WWE twist, turn, and backstage bombshell. Trust me, with Becky talking, you are not going to want to miss a single moment. Now let us start with the hook. Becky Lynch saying, and I quote, "I have never cheated in my life." Immediately, this statement grabbed the attention of every fan from the front row to the live stream in your living room. And here is the kicker. She was not just bragging. She was making a statement about her integrity, her career, and how WWE sometimes does her dirty. Becky Lynch has built a career on hard work, dedication, and raw talent. She did not climb to the top by sneaky tactics or shady alliances. She did it by being consistently excellent, cutting promos that could slice through steel, and wrestling in matches that define eras. And now, after her recent title loss, she is drawing a line in the sand, reminding everyone that her record is spotless, her efforts unmatched, and her commitment undeniable. The context here is key. Becky's comments came right after Survivor Series WarGames, one of WWE's most physically punishing events. She stepped into a cage surrounded by chaos, steel, and some of the most unpredictable competitors in the business. And when the dust settled, despite her ferocious effort, she did not leave with the gold. This is the kind of moment that could make anyone bitter, but Becky chose to speak with fire, not resentment. She reminded the WWE Universe that even in defeat, her integrity is untouchable. Now, let us pivot to AJ Lee, because Becky Lynch had plenty to say about her. And yes, it is fascinating. While AJ Lee officially retired years ago, her influence on WWE, particularly on women's wrestling, remains huge. Becky acknowledged AJ's contributions and recognized how she helped pave the way for athletes like her. But here is the twist. Becky contrasted AJ's era with the current environment, highlighting how WWE has evolved and how, in some ways, the system still does not fully respect the women's division. It is like she is tipping her hat while simultaneously pointing out the cracks in the foundation. That is classic Becky Lynch. Equal parts tribute, equal parts challenge. Moving on to WarGames, the match that tested her physically, mentally, and emotionally. WarGames is brutal. It is unforgiving. It is steel, chaos, and teamwork tossed into a pressure cooker until it explodes. And yet, Becky Lynch thrived. She delivered a performance that reminded the world why she is not called the man by accident. But even in that chaos, the match had consequences. Her team faced miscommunication, opponents exploited openings, and ultimately, her side came up short. This is where Becky's honesty becomes fascinating. She does not blame her teammates, the referees, or the schedule. She acknowledges the loss, but refuses to taint her career by claiming shortcuts or deception. This is not just professional pride. It is a statement of personal ethics in a world where bending the rules is often rewarded. And let us not forget the reactions backstage. WWE is no stranger to tension when someone like Becky Lynch speaks candidly. Her words have likely stirred conversations at every level of the company, from creative writers to executives. Calling out perceived unfairness and emphasizing integrity can make waves, especially when it comes from someone who has carried ratings, merchandise sales, and the credibility of the women's division on her shoulders for years. The impact on fans cannot be overstated. Becky Lynch's comments resonate because they reflect what audiences have felt for years. Fans want to see the women's division booked with care, respect, and long-term storytelling. They want victories and losses to matter. They want superstars like Becky Lynch to be judged on skill and performance, not backstage politics or creative shortcuts. When Becky speaks, she gives voice to those frustrations, and she does so with a punchy charisma that makes it impossible to ignore. Now, consider the timing. Survivor Series WarGames is fresh. The Rumble season is approaching, and WrestleMania looms on the horizon. Becky's words are not just commentary. They're strategic. They send a signal to WWE that she is still at the top of her game and that she expects the storylines, booking, and character development to match her efforts. This is a subtle but unmistakable way to assert influence over her career trajectory and the women's division as a whole. And here is where it gets even more interesting. Becky Lynch's stance could signal a future feud or storyline development. By emphasizing her clean record and integrity, she sets herself apart from rivals who rely on underhanded tactics. This creates natural tension for feuds where morality, fairness, and legacy come into play. Who could challenge her now without being cast as the villain? It opens the door for fresh rivalries with rising stars or even older veterans who feel threatened by her dominance. It also shines a light on WWE's creative direction. Becky's willingness to speak openly about issues like booking, fairness, and respect might encourage the company to rethink how the women's division is handled. Fans are watching closely, sponsors are paying attention, and social media amplifies every word. WWE cannot afford to dismiss someone who commands this level of respect and fan engagement. Let us break down Becky's commentary on AJ Lee a little further. Becky made it clear that while AJ helped set the foundation, the current era demands more than trailblazing moments. It requires consistent, well-crafted storylines. This is a subtle challenge to WWE's creative team. Do not rest on the laurels of past successes. Keep evolving, keep elevating, and make every feud matter. Becky is not just reflecting on the past. She is demanding a future that respects the effort and sacrifices of the current roster. Speaking of effort, her WarGames performance cannot be overstated. Every dive, strike, and cage maneuver demonstrated not only athleticism, but storytelling in motion. Each sequence had stakes, emotion, and D. Finally, consider the ripple effect. When a superstar like Becky Lynch makes a statement this bold, it encourages other wrestlers to speak up, fans to engage more deeply, and the company to pay attention to real concerns. It is a rare moment where performance, personality, and activism intersect, and it could have lasting implications for how WWE handles storytelling, matchmaking, and star development. So what is the takeaway? Becky Lynch has not just commented on her title loss, AJ Lee, or WarGames. She has set the tone for a season of accountability, performance, and integrity in WWE. She has reminded the company, the fans, and her peers that true greatness is measured not just by wins or losses, but by the values and effort behind every move inside the ring. Thank you for watching.